Hello, thanks very much for joining me again. Now, it is said that genius and madness are very, very close together. I'm not claiming to be a genius, and those of you that will have seen my other videos will know that is absolutely the case, and therefore I think I must be mad. Because I had an idea, it's taken a long time to get to this stage, and the idea was, if I can just pick this up, to get one of these. And what this is a solid brass pen clip blank. Now I'll explain to you why this came around. If you've seen our other videos, you'll know that we do several solid brass pen kits. I've got a couple here that I can show you. There's one there, there's another one here, and you'll see I've had a play already because there's a clip on that one, but I'll show you that in further detail in a bit. And the extremely daft foot-long pen kit here, and some people's comments, and I have to say I agree with them absolutely fully on this, is that sometimes a pen doesn't look quite right when it hasn't got a clip on. Now these pen kits are solid brass, so we could have gone to a pen manufacturer, as many people do, and we also do like normal pen kits if you like as well, and bought an off-the-shelf pen clip, but it wouldn't be brass because they don't make them in brass, and then our solid brass pen wouldn't be a solid brass pen, it would be a solid brass pen with sprung steel or manganese steel, whichever you like to call it. But we wanted to do a solid brass, and I then had the idea, well, if I get a blank like that, what you can actually do is make your own pen clip exactly the way you want to make it, rather than me or some other dealer dictating to you. You can have A, B or C, and that's it. There's no other alternative. So quite often it's that one and no alternative. The other thought I had with these is that because handmade pens are a little bit unique, that sometimes it might be nice to put either a maker's mark on it or a limited edition number on it, or just a decoration or whatever. So that's how the idea came around for doing these clips. And I have to say, when you see the clip in their raw brass form, they look pretty boring. However, when you've finish them, put your whatever design you want on them, or you can leave them blank if you want to, and bend them and change them from the 2 dimensions into the 3 dimensions, the transformation, I have to say, is quite remarkable. And having done several samples of these, I have to say it's a huge amount of fun, and it's really satisfying to see the end result that you get. I've tried all sorts of things. I'm not the most artistic person in the world. I've got it's not a Dremel, but the equivalent of a Dremel, and I've tried writing with it, and I've done patterns with it, and I'm going to take one this morning. I'm going to try drilling holes in it, because basically you can design it however you want. So that's primarily what the video is around this morning, but I'm also going to touch on our solid brass pen kits that we have here, because the pen clips interact slightly differently with each kit, and I'm also going to touch on our solid brass end pieces here as well, because they're all available separately, but they all interact with one another. So I'll try and explain the interaction between them and how they all kind of work together if you want them to. And I know some people will say, John, why don't you do a kit with just everything included? Well, not everyone wants all these bits, so we do them separately. It does make them a bit more difficult to, they're not really difficult to find on the website, because a lot of the products will say have all the other products that are associated with it listed underneath anyway, so you can tick the relevant products and pick them and then stick them in your basket. So I hope it's fairly straightforward. So let's have a look at the pen clip itself. It's 60mm long. I hope if I hold it there just against the backdrop of my t-shirt you'll be able to see. It's 60mm long. It's 10mm diameter around here, and the hole in the centre there is 4mm. Now the 4mm hole is relevant to our SBTE pen kit, which is that one there, because this one has an end clip and the end clip is a bit like, here's my foot-long pen, which is one of those kits with the end cap in here. I haven't glued it in so I can pull it out. The 4mm hole in here relates to, if you can just see that, it's quite tight and that would need to be pushed in, but it's exactly the right size to fit in there, and it's also the right diameter, 10mm. So this pen clip will work with the SBTE pen kit. Are you with me so far? If I move on to the other pen kit, our original one, which is a larger pen kit, which is the SBFC and SBRC, because we do a fountain pen kit and we also do a rollerball pen kit, these are slightly different. Now with these, they are designed primarily to be a one-ended pen kit, i.e. you have wood or whatever you like on the other end and it goes to a point or a shape and it doesn't have any ends on it. However, for those that want to turn between centres, you can change that because you can use our brass end caps, which are those ones there. And I've got one here in a packet. No, I haven't. I've got one out of a packet so I can hold it up and show you, which is that one there. Now these come 4 in a pack and they also come with a 6mm dowel. So 6mm dowel, and it fits in there, and if I pop that on there you'll see, there we go, you can probably see that much better. They're really nice little bits of brass. That however won't fit through there, but because it's got a 4mm hole in the pen clip blank, it's very easy just to drill that out to 6mm. So when you drill that out to 6mm and you've already got your pilot hole in there to guide you, you'll then be able to fit that through the hole and glue it on. So the only real changes that you need to make are the hole size and then finishing the piece of brass. And when I first started looking at these as a project, and I have to say it's taken quite a few months to get to this stage, they may look simple, they're not as simple as they would appear, certainly getting them manufactured to the relevant spec or whatever. But the ones that I made from sheet brass when they first came in took me an awfully long time, because getting this curved bit circular and the hole centered is not easy. If you're an experienced metal worker, you can probably do it no problem at all, but as a woodworker that was quite difficult. I did it and I filed it down by hand. It wasn't perfect, and that's why we've had these made in a factory for us, to get that correct diameter and the correct shape and the hole smack bang in the middle, because the decoration and the finishing of the rest of it is pretty straightforward and a huge amount of fun. Filing this for 20 minutes to get it round is not fun, I can tell you. So that's really why these products came around. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to mark it, and I'm actually going to try doing one with a few holes in it, just to see what that looks like, and I'll then show you how we can sand it and polish it and also bend it and get it to the right shape. And if you have a particularly fat pen kit, and I'll show you one of those if you bear with me, because a while ago I did a barley twist pen kit. It's really quite big because I couldn't get the barley twist any smaller, but if you have a large pen kit like that, you can put the bend in the clip. Let's hold that there so hopefully you can see it. You can put the bend in the clip wherever you like it, and you can see what that's really quite a nice product. And although I'm not artistic, I've actually tried to write Prokraft on there, which I have done. It's not great, but I'm not very good with the Dremel. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that are brilliant with them and that could do an awful lot better, but it just gives you an idea of what you can do on the actual pen clip there. Right, I've had a little play and I've been over and drilled some holes like that, and I've also had a go at bending the pen clip, and I can tell you, I haven't tried this before, so those of you that know the videos will know I do pretty much a warts and all video. Some things go right, some things go wrong. This has gone wrong, not because of the, well, it is because of the holes I've drilled, but by drilling the holes in here, and one of them's a fair size, it's probably about 3 mils, it's actually weakened the brass a little bit with the hole. So if you're going to put holes in it, put a small hole. But what I'm going to do is I'll actually show you the process of actually just bending the clip blank to fit on a pen. And now what I'm actually going to do is bend this on the vise, but you need to make sure you've got some kind of protection. Wood is okay. These have got little rubbery bits on here just to protect the brass. If you use bare metal on the brass bit, you'll probably mark the brass. It's not the end of the world. You'll manage to sand it out again. It just takes a little bit of work. But the next thing I'm going to do is to decide where I'm going to put the bend. So I mark somewhere maybe on the inside where the bend is going to be marked roughly, and I'm then just going to make sure it's absolutely upright and just put the bend in the pen clip like so. There we go. So I've got the start of the bend there, and it may well be that you need to put it on the edge to bend it round. Sorry, my vise isn't very good here. This is a cheap and cheerful vise. Just make sure it's bent past the 90-degree mark to make sure the pen clip is coming back onto the pen. But it depends on the size of the pen. What I'm now going to do is actually put the other bend in here. Now you can polish this before you actually bend it. But today I'm doing it the other way. It's probably easier to polish it all up before it's bent, but I'm just showing you how it can be done. So again, you choose where you want to put the bend, and you're bending it the other way this time. Again, make sure it's level, and you put the bend in there, and you can then decide exactly how much of a bend you want to put on the clip. So that's really quite shallow, but it's probably okay. And I'm now just going to go and sand and polish that up, and you'll see the transformation, and then we fit it onto one of the pre-made pens that I have. So for the polishing, I've found a bit of 600 grit wet and dry. I have used 400 grit, just normal sandpaper before, and I also use good old-fashioned Brasso. So we'll polish this up and see what it looks like when it's done. So here's the one that I haven't polished it up as much as I would normally, because it's a bit boring watching somebody polish something on a video. But I've got my particularly large pen kit here. This is the SBTE. The little brass end clip would go through there, and it will then fit on to there like so. It will need gluing in. This is a particularly wide pen, so I haven't bent this quite right. I can tell you, actually doing this and videoing it is really difficult because it's really quite small, and to actually concentrate on what you're doing on the small bit and operate the camera is not particularly easy. But I'm hoping that the message has come across okay, and you can then see that the spring, it's not as springy as sprung steel, but it does operate quite nicely as a pen clip. Here's a different one that I did earlier. This has got the 6mm in, and it's also got glue all the way around it. But you can see, if I hold that, you can see the spring there, and I could clip that on quite easily onto. There we go. I could clip onto my t-shirt, no problem there at all. So it does work as a really good pen clip. And as I said earlier, there's all sorts of things you can do with it. Here's another one that I've practiced on. Excuse my fingers. You might want to put gloves on. This one, I've just put little markings on it. What I actually did was got my Dremel multi-tool, and I did lots and lots of figure eights all over it, and I've given it a texture on the front of there, if the camera will pick that up. And you can see also how the size fits in with our brass end caps and the little 6mm dowel. You can see they all slot together because I've drilled the 6mm hole on there, and they're all the right size to fit together like so. What else have I done? I think I showed you earlier one that I've tried to write on it. I'm not very good at writing, but there I've written Prokraft on that one. So you get the idea. Really, it's up to you to make them however you want to make them. And the reason I've done this is because I like making stuff. This to me is a huge amount of fun. I can make something absolutely unique and individual with that, rather than just buying it off a shelf, made in a factory, and I just like that. These are never going to make me a millionaire. That isn't why we've done them. We've done them to go with the solid brass pen kits and just give you an opportunity to do something a little bit unique and a little bit different. One final thing before I go, that I haven't touched on, that I meant to, and that is, it's brass. Brass, I hear you all cry, "John, brass discolours, what can you do about that?" Well, you can, if you want to, put a lacquer coating on it. Alternatively, when you've got a pen that's finished, it's actually quite easy. Slot a bit of paper around there, and you can then take your polish and polish that up like so. Getting around the end bits is a little bit more difficult, but there we go. That one had discoloured slightly, and that is now really nice shiny brass. Lacquer is probably easier if you can spray it, but it's quite satisfying actually to have to polish your brass pen. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. Enjoy your polishing, sanding, bending, etching, whatever it is you do with these and anything else. Look forward to seeing it in the next video. Bye bye for now. Take care.